newspaper. Security agencies have the government's strong support, and 30 northern region villages get treated borehole water by year end.
Now, the Business Finder is reporting this morning that the Ghana Revenue Authority is actually put together a task force which is descending on defaulters. And also on the front page of that paper is that the cedi is set to remain at 5 cedi 40 pesos till the end of the year against the US dollar anyway. And that's on the front page of the Finder.
The Daily Graphic newspaper, Direct Bank of Ghana orders to restore GN savings and loans. That's Indium praying the High Court. Back page, okay, one more story on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Decision to arm policemen on duty. Drivers disagree. Back page of the Daily Graphic, President casts sword for erection of Kofi Annan statue, and measures to curtail trade in rosewood on course. That's Kojo Owusu Efriye Sir John.
Now, the New Crusading Guide is reporting this morning that no Ghanaian has been attacked in South Africa. This according to the High Commissioner. And the President asking us to explore broader policies to fight violent extremism. And that's on the front page of the paper too. The last one is that there's an Asin District Teachers Credit Union. And it's on the verge of collapse because some people are extending their corruption into the system. And that's on the front page of the New Crusading Guide. Localized corruption.
It's like the corruption is everywhere. I'm done. So
anyway, well, we can start with the very first story. And this story panned out yesterday on the Super Morning Show.
Yes.
And both the New Crusading and the Ghanaian Times are referencing your wonderful interview with the High Commissioner to South Africa, George Ayisi Boateng. Basically, he assured us that no Ghanaian in South Africa that he's aware of has been harmed or attacked or has been coming in harm's way because of what's happening there. We all do know that a couple of days and even the weeks before that, there were hints of possible truck drivers losing their jobs and complaints from South Africans that other foreign nationals have taken over their job. I've seen a certain police commissioner also making some very wild allegations that there's a town in South Africa that has 80% foreign nationals and South Africans themselves are only 20%. He believes that there is this huge number of people that is running towards South Africa in a way that they may take over the country in terms that he doesn't believe is right. And that has also fueled other, and we know that this was simmering for a very long time, other xenophobic tendencies across the country. But the police in South Africa says that they have arrested 152 people so far. They are on top of the matter. They brought the matter under control. Our High Commissioner confirms that to us that where at least predominant Ghanaian settlements, there is no indication that the place is being attacked or a Ghanaian has actually been attacked in any way. That notwithstanding, he's met with the Home Office in South Africa and other groups that would protect Ghanaians, and they're giving Ghanaians the assurance that you have done nothing wrong. I think, and even Nigeria believes though, that it is the main target of these attacks. So even when it comes to foreign nationals in South Africa, the people who are attacking other people are looking for very specific people to attack. Wow. And that's how terrible the condition is. Nigeria has been reacting already. We understand that it has recalled its ambassador to come and explain what the situation is, so that they know how to act. Indeed, the South African president has come out to say that this is not what we support as a state. It's not collective responsibility that we believe in. We think that this can be worked out, and we are putting in plans to make sure that we get to the bottom of this as crime, not as any form of thing that can be justified or explained in some other way. And that's the way they want other people to see it. It's unclear whether going forward, because when the High Commissioner, and this is the case virtually everywhere, when the High Commissioner is obviously clear in his mind, he doesn't know the number of people who are there, Ghanaians. He cannot tell us that none has been attacked.
Of course, because he only has, right? He said a little under 600.
Very good, 600. Yes. But we know that,
official, but we know
if I scam my mind small, I'll know more than 600 people in South Africa.
There you go,
yes, so that's how important the situation is. We'll be speaking to two people. The first person is Yakub. Yakub is not so convinced that there's information flow helping them to stay away from the dangerous areas. In fact, he is of the firm belief that the information is being given to a segment of the society and have to glean from that particular segment of that society to be able to get that information you require. The High Commissioner has always been telling us that stay away from arguments with people, because you see, the thing with xenophobia, it is more emotional than it's expressed out there. It's the fear that somebody is taking over your lives and your livelihoods in a way that you are going to be deprived of basic sustenance. So because of that, they are fighting to preserve their lives, or preserve what they will eat in the day, and also the work they will do and all of that. So if you go into arguments with them, they may see you as the enemy and deal with you. He's also asked that they stay away from specific areas that are crime zones in virtually every country, and that is how they are going about the situation on the ground. So that's what the main papers are reporting. Your story in a very nice way.
Thank you for that, Raymond. And we're fighting other forms of extremism?
Absolutely. That's what the president is talking about. President Nana Akufo-Addo says that even though Ghana enjoys relative peace, the country is not immune from terror attacks. And he says that within the sub-region itself, West Africa, you have countries in the lake regions, Chad Basin, Mali, Nigeria, other parts of the Sahel region generally, being victims to terrorist attacks. He says that means that Ghana must do more than just watch. The things that he's proposing that Ghana should do, and he was saying this at the maiden Kofi Annan Peace and Security Forum, which had in attendance former President John Dramani Mahama, the Ernest Bai Koroma, also former president of Sierra Leone, among some other dignitaries. He says that Ghana must do a number of things. The country must focus on education. He believes that whilst military solutions may play a significant role in curbing extreme behavior, educating people plays a more significant role in creating opportunities for people, so that the tendency for them to list or enlist on terror groups will be minimized. So he says that it is the reason why his government is going at great lengths to educate people by providing free education at the senior high school level. He says that the creation of jobs in the continent is also important, because that will give people a source of livelihood. When people have a job, they can earn a decent living. The likelihood that they will be extreme and engage in extreme conduct and behavior will be minimized. There are other things that he's talking about, religious tolerance as well, inter-party agencies. All of these things, the president believes, if we engender religious tolerance, let people understand that religion can't be a basis for division amongst people who otherwise would have been living peacefully together, then it plays a big role, because religion sometimes is the basis upon which people take these kinds of extreme actions and conduct of terrorism. So those are the things that the president has been talking about at the Kofi Annan Peace and Security Forum. And some of the things that the president mentioned were corroborated by former President John Mahama, who talked about the opportunities that exist in Ghana for education. There is water, there is electricity. All of these give people an opportunity to live a decent life and to not join terror groups.
Interesting. And what's also more interesting for me as well is food prices going on a downward trend.
Yes, Isoko is the one reporting saying the major staples that we consume in this country, food prices are a very important part of inflation.
Jollof.
So sometimes they just...
I'm just kidding. I know yet.
We're talking about maize, we're talking about plantain, we're talking about rice. Stop that.
Which translates into jollof. Please anyway, talk to us in a language we understand.
So the general trend compared to last year or from the beginning of this year, and if you do quarterly analysis of the pricing regime, all that the people of this republic ought to know is that this is not contributing excessively to inflation. So if inflation is on the ascendancy or slightly inching up, it will be from other factors except for the food part. And you see, let's not just and I get your point. Processed food and other parts contribute to food inflation. So it's not just the major staples that we're talking about. But what Isoko basically does is that the various markets across the country, they have close links with them, so they'll get to know exactly how they are selling the food prices. And when they do the estimates, they get to know whether or not generally the food prices are stabilized, going down, or heading in the direction that's dangerous. Because around this time last year, there were complaints that actually the food prices were becoming way too
much.
Yes, for people to, and that's dangerous because basically people want to eat. It's something that you can't stop doing a day.
Of course.
And then if you don't find food to eat because the price is out of your range, it becomes very difficult and dangerous for our quest to secure our people when it comes to food. Because really, if for nothing at all, you can decide not to find work, but something small.
Something has. I think when we talk about things like this and what the average person is thinking, and when you said it is, when I go across the road to buy jollof, the 1 cup of jollof that's maybe 2 cedis, will I be getting more for the 2 cedis or less for the 2 cedis?
Oh no, I think that I explained that it depends. 2 things. One, the raw food product that is tracked in this case is different from the one that you end up processing and cooking.
Yeah.
So when you cook, you add value to it. It depends on where you're getting your valued food from.
Okay.
Because if you're at the corners that can get that cheap and also maintain at the raw food price range.
So this
But other
affects more
places-
those who are buying the raw
Very
food
good.
items.
So if you
than
go
those who
to,
are
let's
selling
say, Malata, if you go to the Dome Market,
Adogoshi,
if you go to,
Kaneshi,
yes, Kaneshi, these are the places you expected to see the
To see
difference.
the difference,
But
okay.
if the woman goes to buy from these markets and decides to take the smaller market
Add a
or a
few
more
things to
expensive
it, of
market,
course.
or just run in the direction of East Legon, it might be something different.
to Bank of Ghana?
Yes, the Bank of Ghana is enforcing the regulations on third-party transactions. They issued a statement that specifically insists that Section 23(7) of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2008 at 749, and it basically says that people who are going to lodge money into the accounts of other people ought to carry with them their ID cards, and that without your ID card anymore, you cannot go and pay money into or do deposits on behalf or withdrawals on behalf of any other person. We knew this when it comes to withdrawals. The only interesting part is that at the time that the financial sector is really not in the best of shapes, are we not discouraging more deposits? I would have preferred that there's a ceiling. So, for example, if the market one sends the daughter to go and just deposit somewhere 200, 400, 500 cedi, it should not be an amount range that we should be actually insisting on ID cards.
If there are
But-
questionable volumes.
Yes,
or
we're talking
amounts,
about
like
huge
Sam's.
amounts. Yes, but you see, our system is such a way that you use policy to promote the system, and it's good when it comes to anti-money laundering, especially. But how we can't say money laundering for 500 or a market woman's deposits.
Unless a person is doing it 500 cedis every
hour.
every hour. So
Yes,
in
maybe
a day they
it
are sending
accumulates to something
Absolutely.
big. But my only difficulty is that perhaps we should graduate it a little bit and see which range really can fit into a bigger understanding of the money laundering that we seek to prevent, so that we don't prevent people from going to the banks, because really the banks will tell you they need the money to be able to work. They need the money to be able to do the things that they do, and if you pay their people, without people come to do deposits, they'll just be going in circles
issues,
and
yes.
they may collapse.
Indeed.
Anyway.
And Malik, this story about policemen being armed is still on the minds of
It's
Ghanaians.
still in the news.
Yes.
It's not just the National Peace Council that is complaining. It's not just the Bureau of Public Safety that is complaining. According to the Daily Graphic newspaper, drivers, both commercial and private vehicle drivers, also believe that the idea of arming members of the Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service is a bad idea. It's a bad idea because they believe that cannot guarantee safety on our streets. Now, some of the road users, some of the drivers that the Daily Graphic spoke to, say that in their dealings with police people, they feel that the police are more likely to act on impulse when they are armed. This is the reason why they think that it's a bad idea. They think the police should rather be trained to engage in efficient policing that will earn for them the respect of the public. That will be one way to guarantee the safety of the police, and not arm them and give them bulletproof vests, but arming them and creating more insecurity on the streets, given that they are more likely to act on impulse, cannot be a sensible decision to take. We know that in the aftermath of the killing of the two police officers, Sergeant Michael Jamasi and Awal Mohammed, the Inspector General of Police was ordered by the Interior Minister Ambrose Derry to arm the police officers on the roads so that they can protect themselves and fight crime. This is a decision which is controversial by nature and has attracted persons who believe that it is not a wise idea. Of course, the Interior Minister insists that the argument that the police officers will misuse their arms is not backed, because even ordinary citizens who are not trained to wield arms are entitled by law to acquire licensed guns. How more persons who have been trained?
And
but
they are
there's also the
displaying them in our
licensing
traffic.
procedure,
Yes,
isn't there? I
no.
mean, before you actually. But anyway, I'm sure that will come up again, and we'll keep our eyes on that one. Thank you, Malik and Raymond, for joining us this
I
morning.
like the way you mentioned my name. Say it again.
The online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goil Good Energy. Make your day productive by relying on quality fuel from Goil, your 3-time CIMG Petroleum Company of the Year. Get your money's worth every day by buying fuel and lubricants from any of Goil's over 360 service stations nationwide and experience good energy. Buy Goil, Go Ghana. Goil Good Energy, Goil Yenara Yedia. And you can travel light, shop light, pay light, and live life light with Zenith Bank's array of electronic banking products. Whether you're a corporate entity or an individual, Zenith Bank has an electronic product for you to cater for your unique financial needs. Sign up today for Zenith Bank's electronic banking solutions and enjoy the convenience of banking on the go. Go light with Zenith Bank. It's faster and smarter. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. And My Joy Online this morning is reporting retable conduct of public officers bill. Occupy Ghana backs Shraj. Adumonline.com. Yasemnie. Goro boys go digital as DVLA passport officers go paperless. Man must eat, so we are changing our style. A desperate middleman at the DVLA has said. Nanaya Otiboateng said the introduction of the smart card driving license has affected their work immensely as a means to make ends meet. He said they have also decided to go digital as middlemen, popularly referred to as Goro boys. That full story on adumonline.com and bbc.com. Ebola survivors face possible kidney damage. StarFM.com. Zeno attacks create jobs for your citizens. South African commissioner to African leaders. And we'll be taking a few messages, and when we come back, we will have the BBC News at 7, and we'll also go straight into, after that we'll have Uncle Ebo White here, and then we'll go straight into our I Survived segment this morning. And this morning I have a very wonderful lady coming to share her story with us, Pastor Mrs. Tina Techi Menson. She'll be sharing her life in Liberia, going through the civil war and surviving the death of her husband, her father and her son, all in 1 year. We'll also be doing a quick stop at Lekma for an update, and we will be bringing you our hotline documentary. All of this after we take these messages.